Hello, everyone. You know me as Mr. Anderson, but I have another name. It's Neo. Today, you have a choice. You have a choice to sit and distract yourself with music, with Netflix, through assortment of other means, or you can change. You can decide to do something deeper, something harder. You can seek the truth in mathematics. That choice is up to you. You can stop this video now. You can go back to your life of distraction, or you can seek for more. I hope you decide to join me on this journey. So let's begin. So the first question we have here is, what is the meaning of the expression 4 squared? So we know 4 squared means 4 times 4. The exponent tells us how many times we're going to multiply the number by itself, and hence the answer is D. Let's move on. In the second question, we're asked to do the same. Now, important here is to realize that 2x cubed, because only x cubed is being cubed, that this is what we're really looking at. Hence, 2 is still 2, and x cubed is x times x times x. And this is answer choice B. We also know, we've talked about this many times, that 12 to the 0, much like any number raised to the 0 power, is simply 1. And over here, we have negative 12 to the 0. And what's important here is, because of the way it's written, we are actually taking 12 to the 0 first and then multiplying by negative 1. So we know 12 to the 0 is 1. Multiplying by negative 1 gives me negative 1. What we're always doing, what we cannot escape, what is always inevitable, is that PEMDAS is always lurking behind us. So exponents comes first, hence we have to change this to 1, and then we're multiplying, which is negative times 1, which is negative 1. Okay. Next up, now you notice the difference here. Now everything is being raised to the 0, so this is just 1. Number 6, 4 to the negative 3. With 4 to the negative 3. When we say it's negative, remember 4 to the negative 3, it's hard to see, but this is actually just 4 to the negative 3 over 1. And if that is the case, then whenever something is negative, we know that that means reciprocal. Here I am jumping straight to the answer, which means that we're left with 4 cubed, 1 over 4 cubed. 4 cubed means 4 times 4 times 4, which leaves me with 1 over 64. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. If you said 12, that tells you that you need to make sure that you're thinking more carefully about what exponents mean. Exponents mean you multiply values by the bases over and over and over again. So 4 cubed means you multiply the base, which is 4, 3 times. So 4 times 4 times 4. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's keep going. We got a lot of questions. So now notice here that the negative is in the denominator, and the negative just means you're switching position. So if it's in the numerator, it goes to the denominator. If it's in the denominator, it goes to the numerator. So this is just x to the 8th. All right, did I circle? Oh, look at that, I did circle this one. Okay, let's keep going. Number 8, 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 4th. So this is 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 4th. So recall that 3 to the 3rd means 3 times 3 times 3, and 3 to the 4th means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So how many 3's do we have? Well, you have 3 here, and you have 4 here, for a grand total of 7, hence it's 3 to the 7. Hence the rule is that when you multiply numbers with the same base, you add the exponents. And there's my answer. All right, let's keep it going. Okay, so I just finished telling you that we add the exponents. So this is just x to the negative 9 plus 3 plus negative 8. And so when I put these together, I get x to the negative 17 plus 3, which is x to the negative 14. Now, I also told you earlier that when values are raised to a negative exponent, that just means we change the position. So if it's in the numerator, it would go to the denominator. And on this one, if it's in the denominator, it goes to the numerator. So what can we extrapolate from this question is that this becomes 1 over x to the 14th. And there's my answer. Moving on. So we have t to the 5th over t to the 9th. So t to the 5th means t times t times t times t times t. And t to the 9th means the same thing, only we have 9 of them. So that's 3, 4, 5. And then we have 4 more to give me a total of 9. And what we know here is that what matches up cancels out, and we're left with 4 on the bottom, so this is 1 over t to the 4th. But if you look at this, what are you actually doing? Well, what you see is what we're actually doing is if we have 5 on top and 9 on the bottom, what matches up, what pairs up is going to cancel out, and if it cancels out, what you're left with, the 4 on the bottom, this process of canceling things out is actually subtraction. Hence, the rule is just that. We subtract, and look at that. We get a negative, which means it goes to the bottom. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. We're going to keep going. All right. So we have z to the negative 7th divided by z to the negative 5. Don't let the negative scare you. We're playing the same game. So if well, there's 2 ways of doing this. What I like to do is because it's negative, I actually like to start by just flipping them. You don't have to do this, but I like to do that. And then we just finished saying that the rule is the subtraction when we divide. So this is z to the negative 2. We also said if it's negative, it goes to the bottom. It goes to the denominator. So we're right here. So you just got to keep the rule straight in your head. Next up, more of the same. Again, I don't like the negative. Oh, I like to deal with the negative first because I don't like to have negativity in it. So we're here. And so as we solve this, again, now just because they're in the denominator, don't panic. It's still the same rule. So if the bases are the same, we're multiplying, then we're going to add the exponents. So we got 1 over y to the 16th. I know. Whoa. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so the next one, we have 5 to the 5th raised to the negative 4. And the rule here is what? Well, first off, if I want to get rid of the negative, I just have to do the reciprocal. So I'm going to look at it like this. And then this means I'm writing it 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what will I do? Okay, so we're left with 1 over 5 to the 5th times 1 over 5 to the 5th times 1 over 5 to the 5th times 1 over 5 to the 5th. Well, we know when we multiply and the bases are the same, then we can add the exponents. So this is 1 over 5 to the 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. But that is the same thing Group addition is multiplication. So this leaves me with 1 over 5 to the 20th. Okay, so there's our answer. Now, what is the general rule? The general rule is that you multiply. So if I write it like this, the general rule is that we can just multiply. This is just 1 to the 4th, and this is 1 to the 5th raised to the 4th. So this is 1 to the 4th over 5 times the 4, and which is just 1 over 5 to the 20th. Okay. If you wanted to, you could have also, in the very beginning, just multiplied these two together, and you could have said this is 5 to the negative 20, and then realized that when it's negative, that means you can put it in the denominator. So it's 1 over 5 to the 20th. And there you have it. Okay. All right, next one. So the big thing here, and I kind of illustrated it here, is that the exponent impacts every value. So if the exponent impacts every value, then it impacts not only the 4, but the negative 3. So this is actually negative 3 to the 4th times a to the 4 times 3, which is written here as negative 3 to the 4th times, I said to the 4th, apologize, we're multiplying by 3, to the 3rd, because the exponent is 3, times a to the 12th. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so that seems to match up with that. Let's make sure. Yeah, cool. All right, next one. So again, what's the important part is that we have to realize that the exponent impacts both. So this is x to the 7 times 3 over 3 to the 3rd. So this is x to the 21 over 3 to the, made another mistake. There's a glitch in my system. It's 3 to the 1, so that would be 1 times 3, so 3 to the 3rd. Now, here, and they were nice to you, here, 3 to the 3rd is 27, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Again, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And there we have it. Okay. Next one. All right, so this is the same thing, it's just more. So we're going to multiply by all of these, so it becomes x to the 3 times 4 over y to the 3 times 4, z to the 8 times 4. So everything was multiplied by 4. This becomes x to the 12th over y to the 12th, z to the 32. And that is answer choice B. Okay. Cool beans. All right, let's keep going. Yes, Neo just said cool beans. All right. So it's negative, and what does negative mean? Negative means reciprocal. So we're going to take the reciprocal, and so this becomes 2 over b squared raised to the 5th. And once more, we're going to multiply everything by the exponent. So this becomes 2 to the 5th over b squared times 5. And this becomes, now 2 to the 5th is 32. And b to the 10th. 2 times 5 is 10. So how did I get 32? Again, 2 to the 5th means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 4. Those two together gives me 8. These two together give me 16. 16 times 2 is 32. And there's my answer. All right, so that is A. All right, next one. Identify the terms in the polynomial. So what are terms? Well, we said terms are values that are separated by plus or minus. So the terms are, and here's where it's really, you gotta be real tricky. You gotta be very careful, rather. It can get tricky. This is 4x to the 4th. That's the term. So they're separated by plus or minuses. So 4x to the 4th is 1. Negative 5x to the squared is the next one. So that would be negative 5x squared, which is matching with this. So notice this matches up, but this becomes plus. This actually stays negative, and then we can see negative 3x and then negative 4. So let me be clear here. What we're really saying is we're saying this. So my terms here are this, 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 and this. So I hope that that is very clear. So be careful, because this has them as just the positive versions, and if it's negative, the term is negative. So we want to make sure we're doing that. So the answer here is going to be B. Okay. Number 19, it says identify the polynomial as a monomial, binomial, trinomial. So mono means 1, bi means 2, tri means 3. And if it's not 1, 2, or 3, then it's none. And then degree is the highest exponent value. So we can see here we only have one term, so it's mono. So C and B go goodbye. And then the degree is based off the exponent, which is 2. So notice negative 18, this is called the coefficient. And we know the coefficient here is not what the question's in regard to. So the only one that makes sense is D as well. So it's a 2-for-1er. Okay. Here we can see we have 2 terms, right? So that means that the monomial term goes out. And then we look for the exponent of the highest. So highest is 7. Notice 5 does have an exponent. This is the same thing as saying 5x to the 0. So it does have 0, but where degree is highest exponent of the polynomial. So this is the correct answer. If the question had said what is the degree of the monomial, then the answer would have been of negative 5. Then this would have been the answer. But it's saying what is the degree of the polynomial, which is 7. Okay, more of the same. Now we have 3. 3 means try, so anything that has by goes away. We go for the highest exponent, which is 5. That's the degree. Boom. Knocking these out. Identify the degree of each term and the degree of the polynomial. Okay. So we're going to go left to right. So when we do this, so degree of each term, then we know that the degree of this term here is going to be 1 because the exponent is 1 here. So we're going to start with 1. Okay. Then we go to here, which is 0. So C is gone. And it says what's the degree of the polynomial? Polynomial is the highest. So there's our answer. Does that make sense? And the truth is a little clearer. All right. 23. Okay. So again, 2, 1, 0. So we want 2, 1, 0. That goes away. 2, 1, 0. 2, 1, 0. So it's one of these two. And we go with the highest exponent. Notice it's the highest exponent, not the number in front. So the highest exponent is 2. So C is the correct answer. All right. We're just knocking these out. Next one. Collect like terms, if possible, right? So because the backs here match up, when the backs match up, you can collect like terms. So we just add the numbers in front, or if you want to be fancy, the coefficients. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So this is 10x cubed. And there's my answer. All right, hope that makes sense. Here, notice I can only put these two together. And I would ask you, why is that the case? And hopefully you'd say, oh, because Mr. Anderson, you have x to the 5th and x to the 5th here. So we can put these two together. We get negative 15 x to the 5th plus 10. There's our answer. All right. So now we have 7a to the 9th, negative 12a to the 9th, and 13a to the 9th. Those all match up, and then we can match up 8a to the 5th and negative 2a to the 5th. So we know what matches up, and we can attack it. So 7 minus 12 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. So it's 8a to the 9th. And then with the blue, 8a to the 5th minus 2a is 8 minus 2 is 6. 8 to the 5th. And there we go. Awesome. Next one. It says arrange the polynomial in descending order. So descending order is based off exponents. So we start with the highest exponent and we work our way down. So the highest exponent is 6x to the 6. 6 is the highest. I'm going to cross that out. That also means that that one and that one go away. Next up is cubed, so plus 3x cubed, which means that a can't be the answer. We already know what the answer is, but we're going to keep going. I'll cross that out as well so I don't get confused later. 7x squared, boom, minus 2x plus 10. Minus 10. You know Kung Fu. I mean algebra. Okay. All right, let's move on. 28. All right, so now we're adding. So if you're just adding all the way across, the parentheses become irrelevant. The parentheses become superfluous. And so we put this 9x and the 8x together, and we get 17x. And we put the 8 and the 7 together, and we get 15. So we have 17x plus 15. Boom. Okay. All right. And so more of the same here. So you're adding, so don't need to worry about the parentheses. You can drop them. And we got 4x to the 8th minus 5x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus 4. And then we're going to go plus 5x to the 7th. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to go plus 3x to the 4th here because I can put those together, and then minus 2x. So this looks hard, but it's just a bunch of values. And the only thing that goes together, the only thing that matches up here, right, is the negative 5x to the 4th and the 3x to the 4th. So there's only two things that actually go. There's also, so you're really just recopying the same problem, except with negative 2x to the 4th. So then I'm going to just look for negative 2x to the 4th. This is positive 2x to the 4th. So goodbye. This is negative. So maybe everything else is positive. So, oh, no, going too fast. This one has negative 2x to the 4th. Okay, so the answer is either C or D. Looks like we still have just 4x to the 8th. So this has 4x to the 8th. This has 9x to the 8th. I don't know what's going on there. So that can't be right. So this should be correct. Let's see here. Plus 7x to the 7th. Yes. 3. That's a plus 3x squared. So yeah, minus 2x plus 4. So that matches up entirely. Notice they put them in descending order because that's the way we like to write our polynomials for organization's sake. So don't get flustered by that. All right. So here it's cool because they showed you the vertical method, which I illustrated back here. But now they want you to do the whole problem by the vertical method. They've already aligned it, so you just have to add them up. 3 plus 5 is 8. 9 plus 5 is 14. Negative 7 plus negative 8 is negative 15 plus 4. And that is this one. Awesome. Okay, so here, I just wanted to illustrate something, I guess, important here, which is anything times 0 is 0. Okay. So here we're going to distribute 5. So 5 times negative 7 is negative 35x. Excuse me. Even Neo sneezes. Plus 45. So just make sure you go to both. That's the key here. Okay. Don't just do one, do both. Otherwise you choose this one and you'd miss the question. Here, watch the sign. So you get negative 27x squared plus 3x, because negative times negative is a positive. Okay, so this is negative 27x squared plus 3x. Boom. And then we distribute. So more of the same, negative 55x cubed. And then we have to do 5 times 12, which is 60. Watch the sign, so it's negative 60x squared. There we have it. So keeping it going. All right, just more values, but more of the same. So you're going to distribute. And we get 9 times 4 is 36. Fourth and third is 7. Plus 90x to the 6 minus 45x to the 4th. There you have it. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So GCF is the same thing that we've been doing, but in reverse. So we're going to be talking about, instead of multiplying values in through distribution, now we're going to divide values out. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide out the most that you can out of both of these. So the idea here is we start with the smallest one in terms of the coefficients. The coefficients are just the numbers in front. So the smallest value is 6, and you ask yourself, can you divide both of these by 6? Yup. And then you say, okay, x to the 4th, you want to divide out the most you can, which would just have to be the lowest exponential value, right? You can't take more than 1 out of 1, right? So this would be 6x, and that would be the GCF, because the question is just asking what's the GCF, greatest common factor. Boom. All right. And now we have 3 terms, but it's still the same, okay? Now, what you'll quickly should notice here is that if you have -1, -2, and -4, the most we can take out in regards to the coefficients is nothing, unless you want to take out a negative sign. So we'll go with the negative sign. And the reason why I know I'm going to take out nothing or the negative, or -1 if you want to, is because I looked at the answer choices. So from here, we take out the lowest value of x. So the most amount of x's we have is just 1. That's x to the 5th. So that's x, that's x, that's x. So the most we can take out is -x. All right. And challenge you, say like, hey, if you try to divide the first one by -2x squared, that's not going to work, because you can't do -1 divided by -2, and it comes out to be a whole value. So let's keep going. All right, so this is the real deal here. This is a skill that you really need to know how to do. This is not going away in your future math courses. So again, we do the same thing. We say, okay, 10 and 30. Try 10. 10 definitely works, so we can put 10 on the outside. There's nothing going to be with the variables, and I already jumped through that, and the reason why is because the back value doesn't have anything, right? So this is just going to be 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1, so it's y. 30 divided by 10 is 3, so it's 10 times y to the 3rd. Hope that makes sense. Let's keep going. Over here, we look at 5x squared plus 15x, and we see that we can divide through by 5, right? Again, always starting with the lowest and see if it works. X squared x, you take the lowest, which is x. So we put 5x on the outside and 5x plus 3. Because x squared divided by x, we subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's why we're just getting 5x. All right. And so that's 5x times... oh, look, I made a mistake. Look. This first one is just x, okay? Because 5x squared divided by 5x, I was not paying attention to the 5s. 5 divided by 5 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. And so what I hope that you see here is that it's very easy to make silly mistakes. And also something else here. I caught my mistake because I did what at the end? I didn't say it aloud, but I was doing this, and I always do this in my head. I'm distributing back to see if I get back to the original problem, right? I said 5 times 5. I was like, that doesn't make sense, right? It's 25. So that's how I knew I made a mistake. And I encourage you to do the same. And be very careful. I almost chose this one, but then I saw 15 there. So just very careful when you're choosing your answer choices. Okay. All right. Last one. So we have 9m to the 8th minus 21m to the 6th minus 27m to the 4th. We're going to see what we can factor out. This one's interesting because I said you want to try the first value. And for most of these, that's actually worked. That's all you had to do. But on this one, that's not working. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to divide through by the factors of 9. So what do we mean by the factors of 9? So factors, the word, and it's funny because we talked about the greatest common factor, but I never defined factor here. I defined it in class, but let's define it here. So factors are the values that multiply to get you the intended number. So in this case, the intended number is 9. So in other words, 1 times 9 gives me 9. So what you do is you just try to find, you just go down starting with 1, and you say, okay, 1 times what is 9? 9. Then you go to the next one, 2. 2 times what is 9? Well, there's nothing that goes in evenly into 9. Then you go to 3. 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3. And once you get to where it either repeats here, it's the exact same value, so 3 and 3, or if you were doing something where, let's say 3 times 4, 3 times 4 is a factor of 12. The next one would be 4 times 3, but I've already used 4. So anytime you have a situation like that, that's when you stop. So just to be clear here, if I was doing, for example, the factors of 12, this is not part of the problem, but I just want to give you an example that's not so clean as 9. So you'd be going 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. And then when I hit 4, I can stop because the next one's going to be 4, and then 6, and then 12. So I've already listed it, so why do I need to keep listing all the factors? I can stop here, okay? Because otherwise you'd have to go through 12 of them, and that would be very painful. And when numbers get really big very quickly, it's going to become it's going to take a very long time to do it. So the factors of 9 are 1 and 9, and 3 and 3. So we tried 9, it didn't work, so you go to the next biggest, which is 3. And you ask yourself, can I divide through by 3? Absolutely. Then we go to the m's, and we say take the lowest exponent, which is 4. And this leaves me with 3m to the 4th minus 7m squared minus 9. And there's the answer for the up. And of course, this is a quantity, and I factored out a 3m to the 4th, so 3m to the 4th is there. Okay, so that should be the answer, 3m to the 4th times 3m to the 4th minus 7m squared minus 9. This is also nice. Again, in my head, I'm distributing through to check to make sure it's correct. But it's also nice because there's only one of these that matches up, and it matches up exactly, which is a good sign of telling me, hey, what I'm doing is correct. Okay, so there you have it. That was the last one. Please feel free to look back over these videos to make sure that you really do understand this, and I will see you. Y'all keep working hard and choosing correctly. All right, bye-bye, guys.